Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. Follow me on Instagram at Perry Flips with a Z. Flips and Giggles on eBay, whatnot, Facebook. Pretty much just search Flips and Giggles. You'll find me. And make sure you subscribe if you like the show. If you're feeling the show, if you're digging it. We've been doing it for almost 2 years now. I think it'll be 2 years in like November. It might be over 2 years. I don't know. It's over 100 episodes. I know that. Over 100 episodes for you to sink your teeth into. But if you do like the show, make sure you leave a review. Positive one, please. Tell your friends. Hit subscribe. And hit the notification. So if you see that you get notified that we have a show drop, then you'll know that the show's dropped. Sorry, it's been a long week. The show is late. I was supposed to do it yesterday. I didn't have time. I know, I'm terrible. But let me finish the intro. All right. And then the last thing I'm going to mention, I mention it every week, but if you're looking to level up your reselling game, you're looking to get yourself on track, get your books in order, I highly recommend My Reseller Genie. It's a bookkeeping software. I've used it for years. It just makes everything so much easier. And right now you can use my promo code GIGGLES to get 15% off the bookkeeping software. You can also get 15% off their bookkeeping course. So you can get both of those with promo code GIGGLES, or you can use the link in our Instagram bio to sign up right through there. So again, that code is GIGGLES. I think it's all lowercase. And that's 15% off My Reseller Genie bookkeeping and the bookkeeping course. Bookkeeping software in the course. All right, let's get into it. We are officially losers. We lost. Well, we didn't lose, but we got kicked out of the competition. Not kicked out, but we didn't advance to round 3. I really wanted to win. I've talked about that on here. But once it got to that second round and I was actually having to go through and pull out stuff that I didn't really want to have to sell. I was hoping that Saturday, because Saturday was a big yard sale day the week before, and I didn't get a ton of stuff. And then that obviously I didn't have a crazy quick turnaround. I had 3 appointments to go for 3 different private picks. The first one was a guy who he kind of knew what he had and everything, and so he was just kind of selling the stuff that he didn't want. So it was a lot of stuff that I didn't really want. I did buy a case of those old wrestling bears from him, but I didn't even get a chance to see if they would sell. So I'll get to that in a minute. And then I got a couple other things from him, but they were kind of high on their prices. And he was actually interested in learning how to do whatnot. So he texted me and stuff. So I'm always cool to help people get onto stuff and stuff like that. So they were very nice. And it wasn't even they had stuff that was overpriced. Their comics were all right. Everything was I made some deals with stuff. But they had a couple things that were just a little bit out of my price range. Which is fine, you know what I mean? And then I had another appointment set up to meet up with this guy that I know from yard sales, and he had a box of Polly Pocket stuff that he said he was going to sell. And so when I got there, it was Y2K Polly Pocket stuff, and that stuff does all right. But he wanted more than what he paid for it, so he paid $20. So I ended up, I think, spent $40 on that, and then he had a Coach purse. I spent $20 on that, too much money on that. And then he had sports jerseys and jars of marble, so many jars of marbles. And he was he brought out the sports stuff, but then he was oh, I want what I paid on it, which again is fine. But it's a lot of this stuff hasn't increased in value. You know what I mean? People oh, I paid the X amount of dollars on this in especially if you're looking at 2020 prices, you probably paid more than you should have. And that stuff has kind of come down a little bit, some of that stuff. So, I didn't make a deal on that stuff. but then he had like a ton of marbles, and I know people were selling marbles in round one, so I was like, I'll try to grab something just to have a little variety for people. So like trying to get him to part with the marbles was tough, and I wasn't even like pushy. I was just like, he had so many of them, and he just like invited me. He's like, yeah, you can like look around, blah blah blah. But like he was, this was one room in his house, and there was stuff, so much stuff. Like it wasn't like the worst situation I've ever been in. Like, he had walkways and all that stuff, and but he kept saying, I have a disease. I'm like, yeah, dude, you hear people who are like hoarders say that shit all the time. They're just like, I have a disease. I have a disease. I've heard like them say that shit like verbatim, like a few different people. Like we had a guy a couple years back. We were doing a estate sale for, I think it was for my godmother, and this guy came and he was buying a shitload. And the way we did that, yeah, like I went to my godmother's parents' house. It was their parents' house, and like we were doing a whole clean out. So she was just like, we need to get everything out of there. She didn't care what I was charging people, and so we walked through the whole house, like looked through all the stuff, tried to find everything that was like valuable, put prices on it, all that stuff. But like people were pulling stuff out of people were pulling train stuff, like stuff we had no idea was even in there. And so this one guy, he kept coming out with piles of shit, but he would pay every single time for the pile. And he kept expecting the price to be different. I'm like, we're trying to get rid of this stuff, like, and he was like shocked, but he kept saying like, yeah, he had a huge pile, and he's just like, I got a disease. I have a disease. So that's like, I guess it's a common thing for people who are hoarders. At least they're like, they know it's a disease. It is a disease. It's like, it's a compulsion that you have to like have all this shit. So yeah, trying to like get this dude to part with these marbles. He's like, yeah, I collect marbles. I'm like, you collect them, or you put them in a jar and like fucking leave them everywhere? All right, hold on, I gotta pause this real quick. All right, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, when I get the call that my dad, I have to go poop, dude, you gotta run. So yeah, he I met up with him. This is the same guy who's like, I have a disease, and he's so finally he's like, all right. I was like, well, would you like sell any of the marbles? Like, because at this point I'm like, I feel like I wasted my time. I got the other things that he told me about, but so he was like, well, if you pick one, I can tell you if I'd be interested. So I was like, all right, what about this one? And I didn't like, there wasn't anything crazy about it. There was no glowing ones or anything like that. So he's like, oh, I'd do like 35 on that. So like, all right, whatever. So I did it because I just wanted to get out of there. I think I only made like 60 on it. So it wasn't like anything great, but so then I had a third appointment with this guy that I know from yard sales, and he's been telling me, he's like, we're moving, he's trying to clear out a ton of stuff, and I didn't have time to get over there. I really didn't. So then when I was getting set up for the show, I was like, oh, well, I got to go through my stuff, and the guy Corey, who's been doing who does the competition, Corey Man X on Whatnot. Shout out to him. He did put together a great competition, and gave us an opportunity. So we appreciate that. What the fuck was I gonna say? I don't even remember. I don't even remember where I was going with that. So anyway, yeah. So he, that's what I remember. So his saying, like through the whole thing, is like, you got to risk it for the biscuit. And I was prepared to risk it for the biscuit the whole time. And then we got to the point where I actually had to like go through my stuff, and I was like, I don't want to risk this for this. You know what I mean? Like, so it got to a point where I was like, I probably could have, I picked out some video games. I went through all my video game stuff to make a lot to sell, because I was doing things like, I did a whole rack of t-shirts. I did like a whole bin of hats. Like I was going ham selling shit. And yeah, I like, when I got to like my video games and my Pokemon cards, I was like, I can't. And so I put like my Charizard, because I have a Charizard. I have the 2002 legendary Charizard, the reverse foil. I forget all the names. But it's like a $9,000 card right now, and like a couple months ago it was like $2,500. Like that card just keeps going up, and plus it's like one of my favorite cards. Like I found it at a flea market for $30, like one of those indoor flea markets that just has shit set up constantly. And I found it like right before, like it was years ago. It was probably like 2016. I found it for $30. Just like at a little flea market thing. It was in the little top loader in the thing. And then I took it and I just threw it in a drawer and forgot about it. And then like Pokemon cards started coming back and I was like, yo, I think I have a Charizard. Like I went to go look and see which one it was. And at that time it was like $1,000 card maybe. And then it kind of slowly crept up. And then like the last few like months I've checked it, it's exploded. So people were like, oh, run that for $1. And I was like, nah. It was like in the movie where like, you know, like the main character like has that moment where he's like, you know, it's like, has he changed? And he just is like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I can't. So even like my video game stuff I was going through, and like I had bangers that I was like, if I did this as a lot, like it would sell for a lot more. But I just did all the shit that I'm like not really that interested in. And so, yeah, you know, that cost us. And then when we set up so the first time around we hired a mod, and, you know, so they got a lot of the stuff good to go, set up, ready, checked it, like, and then so the second time around I was like, all right, we have shorter time, you know, to prepare. I don't want to have to like go back and forth with the mod, but I should have done it. I should have hired the mod. And then like, cause somehow I set all my buy it now stuff for where you could buy in like our store while people are doing the auctions. I set it up so it was all completely locked, and I could have gone in and like adjusted it, but then I would have had to take away from the auctions. And so Amy, who helps me with everything, my wife, we didn't realize either that like if she's just a mod, she can't really change any of that stuff. So like she would have had to have been an administrator, which I fucked up on that. And so yeah, we weren't selling anything out of our buy it now. Like there was a couple things that were working because I set those up, but it was like my stickers, the yard sale task force stickers, and then we did treats for Gambit, but nothing else in the store. You couldn't go in and buy it, so like our whole store was locked. It really fucked us up, and we just missed the third round. Like we were tied for 9th place, which was the 9th spot, but we lost on total points by like just a small amount. So if we had gotten stuff from the bin, like I guarantee if we had gotten our bin working, I would have been able to stay on task as well. I would have been able to stay on like the time, and I think we would have definitely got to round 3. That being said, it's nice to not have to like put together, like it took me forever to box up the second show. The first show took forever to box up, you know what I mean? And so like I would probably, you know, it would have just been a lot of work. And then of course like we've got issues with our car. I'll get into that in a minute. So like yeah, it's just kind of like, as much as I wanted to win, I honestly didn't like completely risk it for the biscuit. You know, I did leave money on the table, literally and, you know, figuratively. And, you know, it just that cost us. You know, we were up against other things too. We were fairly like added at the last minute, so we didn't really have a ton of time for people to get to know us. You know, and the guy who was running it, Corey, you know, again, I appreciate the opportunity, but like he was in charge of the whole thing. And like I would go into his room, like his live show. This was after we had been announced as like being on the next 6-figure seller, and I'd be like, you know, go in just to try to get my name out there, be like, hey, good morning, whatever, just shoot the shit. Just he would breeze right past my name, and then like literally like 2 seconds after I would do it, 2 or 3 other people that are in the competition would say, hey, what's up? Same shit as me. And he'd be like, oh, what's up? You know, whatever the fucking name was. They're in the next 6-figure seller. And I'm like, okay. And this was like, this wasn't just one time. This was every single time this dude would be live. I would go in. And then it got to the point too. So the day before the show, it was like the day of like the preview that we were going to do. I went into his live. And I was like, all right, you know what? Like, I'm going to make sure he has to, like, mention me in this show. And it was like his big birthday show. And so I bought a sponsorship. I didn't even tell my wife how much the sponsorship cost because she would have been pissed. But it was like it was like $100, I think, after tax. Like, it came out to $100 to sponsor a spot so that you would get a shout out. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. And every time I've seen somebody do that, he stops the show, does a whole thing like, we just got a massive sponsorship, like, go follow this person. So I'm like, all right, waiting, doesn't mention anything. It's just going through regular giveaways. It gets to be like, he keeps saying like, oh, we got like 20 minutes left in the show. It still hasn't shown that I still haven't got any followers, like nothing. So then there's like 5 minutes left maybe of the show, maybe a little bit more than 5. And he runs my giveaway at the very end, just barely like glosses over my name. And I got like maybe 10 to 15 new follows out of that, couple bookmarks on the big show. But that kind of was like, you know, I was going up against stuff like that as well. You know, and I know part of it is me. I've never been one to like want to fucking play the game, and you know, it's just always been a weakness of mine. Like even when I played football in high school, like I just never would play the game outside the game, you know, like the politics of it all. I wouldn't do all that. I wouldn't like kiss ass, and you know, I just have not, that's not my style. So I don't know if it was because I wasn't like that, like wasn't doing shit like that, or but it was like my wife noticed it too. She's like, he's just completely ignoring the fact that like he would say something, I would put, like answer it in the chat, nothing, like not even mention my name. So, you know, it's your audience at the end of the day. You have one of the bigger shows on the platform, and you're doing this competition. You know, I feel like you kind of have to be fair with everybody. You know, things happen where I get it, you miss my name or whatever the first, but there was times when he would be looking at the screen and I would say, hey, what's up? Nothing. And then somebody else comes in from the competition, hey, what's up? Oh, this person, like, you know. So again, I appreciate the opportunity. I made more money in those 2 sales than I have made like on the platform ever. You know, so I'm very grateful for that. But it's just kind of, you know, that part was just a little annoying because it got to the point where it's like, you know, I'm spending money now to advertise on your channel for your competition. And it was like, I feel like I got like, you know, that was kind of a ripoff. I almost asked for a refund on that shit. If he didn't call my name out, I 100% would have. But that shit was crazy. Like waited till literally the last like 5 minutes as people are already dipping out. Like, come on, bro. So that shit kind of pissed me off a little bit. You know, and but it is what it is. You know, I made a bunch of mistakes. I didn't, you know, hire the help the second time, and you know, it's not that the loss is not on him, it's on me. But that just was one of the things that kind of like, you know, it really kind of annoyed me. Like, you know, so it is what it is. We're not moving on. Again, I'm really kind of relieved. We've got a lot of shit going on. Bought a car like 2-3 years ago, fucking brand new Toyota Highlander from Toyota of Dartmouth. I'm gonna fucking call them out. Toyota of Dartmouth in Massachusetts. And it started having a noise like just after 60,000 miles. So we were busy. I just got it in. And they're like, yeah, it's that noise is your transmission, so you're gonna have to get it replaced. And unfortunately, the Toyota's not gonna cover it because you're just outside of your warranty. Blah 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 blah. So I called corporate. They wouldn't even fucking like the manager wouldn't even talk to me. And then so I went into the dealership. Because I'm like, all right, this is like fucking bullshit. So I go in, I'm like talking to the guy at the desk, and he's telling me the manager's on lunch. So I'm like raising my voice now at this point. I'm like, well, I'm just going to stand here and wait for this dude because it's 2:00 in the afternoon on a work day, and your manager is taking lunch. Like, I'm just going to wait here. So he like went out and was like, all right, he's in the parking lot, so he's going to come in, blah, blah, blah. So I'm standing there waiting. And then the GM comes in. And the GM is like, he looked like fucking Farva from Super Troopers, like this big fat dude. You're like, oh yeah, dude, you're the manager that like, you're the manager because you sucked at selling cars, but you were good at sucking dick. Like that's that's how you became the manager. Like I fucking instantly, as soon as this guy got involved, and so he walks me into his room and he's got like a bag of like garlic flatbread. Just, you can tell he's just been munching on this entire bag of flatbread all day. And so he's like, starts telling me, and basically everything he's telling me is that he's not going to be able to do it. Like, we're going to try, but they're probably going to say no because, you're not, they look at loyalty, is what he was saying. And like, what, because our other vehicles aren't Toyota? Like, this isn't how you get somebody to buy your vehicle. Sell them a brand new vehicle that shits the bed 3 years later after 60,000 miles. And you won't even consider like partial payment. Like, he didn't even say partial until it got to the point where it was like, and then he did the thing where he's like, there's stuff happening behind the scenes that you don't know about. And if I give you a price, I can't like, I can't like, I'd have to like, whatever. Just the bullshit salesman shit. And I'm like, dude, I've been in your seat. I know what you're doing. Like, I know exactly what you're doing. And so I'm like, we're talking about how I'm like, this is an opportunity for you to make a customer for life or for you to lose a customer for life. And like, you're not doing yourself. And so like, then once I said that, he said, I forget how it got to this point, but he said something basically like, well, you seem like you've already made up your mind and, you'll never buy a vehicle from us again. So like, why am I going to go out of my way? I'm like, brother, where did you learn how to be in a position of like, what the fuck? What kind of a response is that to a customer? Like, the way you get me back as a customer is you say, all right, you know what? We're going to eat this $8,000 because one, it's not all 8,000. It's like, whatever the cost of the part is. Again, that's a write-off too. And the labor, you just don't have to, you just take that, you eat that. You know what I mean? You still pay your guys, but you eat that. Because I have a 3-year-old. I told him this. I'm like, I have a 3-year-old. I have a 5-year-old. They're going to be getting vehicles in like a decade. Do you think we're going to come here to get our vehicles? He's like, no. I'm like, exactly. So why, like, why don't you try to change that? Like, it's crazy. He was just already giving up on the fact that, and he's like the manager. So I'm going to call the owner. Like, you got a mid-management level employee making financial decisions for you. Like, he might not have understood the big picture, but I'm telling you, if you handle this $8,000 for me right now, I'd probably come in, buy a truck from you right now, and probably get my vehicles from you for the rest of my life, like my kids and my wife's life. Like, we're never going to buy from you or buy a Toyota ever again. So you guys have fucked over your dealership and you fucked over the corporation you're supposed to be representing. So it was just, it got to the point where it's like it wasn't going anywhere. And so I told him, I was like, all right, I'll just take the long way through the showroom and, let people know what you guys do here. I wasn't going to do shit, but he like tried to follow me out. It's like, buddy, I will fuck you up. He was a big fucking tall, fat fucking guy, but I would have fucking jacked his shit up. I wasn't going to fight him, obviously. And I wasn't even trying to get upset, but it was just annoying. Like, it's as soon as they start doing that bullshit, like salesman talk, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, get the fuck out. So yeah, so now we're like looking at buying a new car because I'm like, I don't want to replace a transmission and then have the transmission fucking have to be replaced another 60,000 miles. Like, that's crazy. And yeah, it was like just outside of the 60,000 warranty. And then he's like going, oh, do you know what the extended warranty is? I'm like, bro, I know what a warranty is. An extended warranty is something you don't think you're going to have to use until like 100,000 miles or more. Like, we're just at 60,000 and I have to get my transmission replaced on a vehicle I bought thinking it was going to last me at least 8 years. Like, it's lasted 3 years. And you guys have no fucking problem with that. You have no problem that that's how you're going to be represented. Like, crazy. The customer service, and I know it's something crazy to bitch about, but like the customer service industry in our country right now is dog shit. It's dog shit. It's crazy. The fact that I have to call the owner of that establishment to be like, yo, you guys are about to lose a lot of fucking money. Like, what are you guys doing? So we'll see how that goes. I don't have high expectations at this point. I don't even want a fucking Toyota anymore. Yeah. So that's why the podcast was not out yesterday. I was going to do it, but all of my mental energy was filled with fighting with fucking employees. And it was so hard. Like, the first kid that helped me was like a little Mexican kid or something. I don't know what he was. He's probably Mexican, El Salvadorian, some shit. I could say that. I'm Puerto Rican. But his haircut, man, he had the worst fucking haircut. But it was like a haircut you could tell he thinks looks cool. And like, there was a couple times where he was just like, because he was just being like a little fucking like, oh, I don't have to help you. I'm like, just like, I can't help you. I'm just a fucking guy at the desk. And I just kept looking at his hair, like, and I literally was biting my fucking lips, like, because I wanted to roast him for his fucking haircut. And the other guy, I want to roast his fat ass for fucking eating an entire bag of flatbread. Oh, Jesus Christ. But I didn't. Because I know that would have been like instantly like, all right, well, then you got to get the fuck out of here. You're making fun of my fucking employees. So I didn't even want to pay. And then I was like, oh, I gave him my card. I was like, I don't even want to pay for this shit. But I was like, I wasn't saying I wasn't going to pay for it, but I was like, I'm not paying for this shit till I talk to the manager. He's like, well, you already paid. And I was like, well, I'm still going to fucking stand at your desk. So I'm going to still stand here. And I did. And my wife's like, you're not going to stand here. I was like, I'm going to stand here till he gets that fucking dude out here. And sure enough, within 5 minutes, this fucking guy came in. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We shall see. Yeah. That was fucking... Oh my gosh, that's so fucking annoying. So, anyway, we've got our first live show tonight. It's our first one since the competition. We've got an entire collection. It's that collection from Star Wars that I didn't think I sold one thing. The first next six-figure seller show. So I only sold like one thing out of all of them, and I've got a ton. I've got like film cells, mail away figures. It's a lot of action figures, and then there's a couple of the random things, like postcards or something. So that's tonight at 8:30 Eastern. I'm going out to like the western part of the state this weekend, so that's always hit or miss. Sometimes I find some good shit, sometimes I don't. I think it's been a while since I found good shit going out to the western part of the Massachusetts. So I hope that this weekend is a good weekend. Yeah, I cleared out a lot of inventory. Like most of my shirts and stuff I did in one big lot. And that went to Philly Flipper. So it's crazy. Like I'm on Whatnot and like I started reselling X amount of years ago. And like Philly Flipper was one of the first people that I would follow and watch his YouTube and Instagram just to learn how to resell and like what would resell and what he's selling and all that shit. And now, he's buying inventory from me on Whatnot. Like, we're on a first name basis. He's supposed to do my new podcast. So I just talked to him again about it. I was like, so I'm going to do a co-host with him to try to get the word out, to get some more stories submitted. So I'm still working on that. I'm done with school. I stopped going to school for this competition, and it was because I wasn't going to be able to go back anyway. But like, my last two classes, I did not pass in like my last few assignments because I was too busy. So it is what it is. I haven't even looked to see what I got for grades, but yeah, it's nice to not have that extra stress and shit going on. You know what I mean? Especially after like this competition was no joke. It was a lot. So I'm glad to be back to our regular shows. Got a little bit of a following bump and boost, and I'm pretty excited about that. And so yeah, we go this weekend to Western Mass, and then the weekend after that, we're flying out west. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff going on. I'm hoping this will be video. I'm hoping this will actually end up as an actual video podcast, because my buddy set up the camera. He was like, you should be good to go now. It hasn't shut off yet, and I've got a couple more minutes to go. So, and then this last weekend, sales sucked on Saturday. Like the day after the competition, I was like, all right, I'll go out and get some shit, and it's nice. We'll clear a bunch of shit out, and we'll have some space. And I went out, and I went to one sale. Where was the sale? Where's the first sale I went to? Because I don't remember where the first. Oh, there was like a one. I forget where it was. I went to this one sale, and it was like they were like, it said it was a gigantic sale, and it was like not. There was like nothing there. So then I just kind of bopped around, and then there was a estate sale that was supposed to start at 10. And so I was like, all right, I'll get there at 9:30. And there was an old guy outside, like, waiting, talking to a guy. So I walk up. I'm like, oh, you guys open? He's like, no, we open at 10. I go, you're opening exactly at 10? He goes, yeah. I go, oh, fuck. So I go, there's another sale up the street. So I shot to another sale and then another one. And then came back. And he still was, like, still the same guy. So I come out. And I have my kids with me. So I'm like, I don't want to leave them in the car for an estate sale. Like, I'll leave them in the car if I can see them. And I'm right there, the window's down. They can talk to me while I'm shopping. But, like, I had to bring them into this yard sale. So I take them out of the car, and we're waiting. And at this point, it's like 10 minutes till. He still is just, it's a private sale. It's not even a company. And it's like the second weekend that they've done this sale. So it's like everything's all set up. Just fucking open the door. And so we're waiting. And I was probably like the second person there. But I had my kids, so I was like standing off to the side, like not off to the side, but like, right next to the line. And so as it gets closer, these fucking old people start like just, because you have to go through a little gate, and they start like, getting in line. I'm like, you guys just rolled up. So like I made sure I was loud, but I was like holding my kids. I was like, all right, we got to go stand in line because these people don't understand how a line works, and they keep cutting us. And they just like, and they didn't even react. They're just like, And so then when we went in, this lady like kind of pushed her way in front of me, and I'm like, all right, girls, hold on. Like this old lady that's being an asshole, and she's pushing. I said that like, I didn't say it so my kids could hear it. I said this old lady is being, and I turned my head, and an asshole. And she looked at me, and like she walked out of the way because she realized that I was talking about her at this point. But I'm like, dude, like there's a fucking line. You just showed up, and you just like, I know there wasn't a number. Like I know, estate sales are kind of like every man for himself, but there's a little bit of like an etiquette. It's like I got kids here with me. I know that this isn't the best place for them, but this is what I do for a living, and I'm gonna do what I have to do. Doesn't mean you get to fucking shove in front of me without being called out. So anyway. And then this other guy shoved in front of me. This guy I can't stand. He comes to my yard sales. I see him at other yard sales all the time. He looks for like the same shit as me. He drives a Prius with all those fucking gay liberal stickers all over the back. Like, I voted for Kamala and my penis is a vagina. That type of shit. Like fucking stupid ass weirdo shit. And he's like, so he kind of pushed in front of me, and I'm like, all right, this fucking dick. So he like goes into the house. And I know what he's looking for because we look for the same shit. And he's so worried about getting in ahead of me. He walks right by the stairs. And on the stairs, it says toys up with an arrow. So I'm like, all right. I went right up there, and I found a bin of Lego. They were asking like 100 on it. But I was like, hey, are you flexible on the price on this? He's like, oh, I'll do 80. So I was like, all right, I'll do 80 on it. And like it was a big ass bin of Lego. I was like, I'll take a chance for 80. And so I brought that out, and I walked right by that guy. And he was like looking at the bin. I was like, you fucking idiot. That's what you get for being a fucking pushy piece of shit. Oh, I don't like that guy. And every time he comes to my yard sale, he's like, oh, hi. Woo. Like tries to act like he's this like dorky little. It's like, oh, dude, I fucking hate you. I hate your stupid gay car too. So yeah, so anyway, I get back, and that was about the only thing I found. I got a couple other like little like PVC figures at a different sale. And then on the way home, I stopped, and I got like it was like a little paintball set, but it was like brand new in the box. So I got that. But I didn't get a ton of stuff on Saturday. But then I got back, I started going through that Lego bin, and there was a lot of good shit in there. Like I started pulling out the minifigures. That's usually my process, is pull the minifigures out. And I've got a whole little bin of minifigures. There was like a Powerpuff Girls set. I'm missing one Powerpuff Girl figure. I still have to finish digging. I know there's more figures in there. There's so much stuff in there that it was like hard to get everything out. But there was a bunch of figures. They all had their stuff, which was nice. And then there was these other like Lego Chima. I threw them away at first. It was like these little, they look like little propellers or something. And so I took those and I threw them away because at first I thought that they were, what the fuck is going on with this? Oh, at first I thought that they were just like not Lego stuff because it didn't look like anything Lego. But then I looked up one of the things that I had found with it, and it was, sorry, I'm just trying to check on my daughter here. And it was like a set, and like each set was going for like 40 to 50. I forget what they were called. Like some of them were going for like 20 to 30, but like there was a bunch of sets in there. So I found those in there. So yeah, it ended up being a good buy for $80. But other than that, I didn't really find shit this weekend. And then this past week, I was bidding on a storage unit. I was prepared to go higher because it was a nice storage unit. It wasn't too far away. And then it got canceled. I was like, oh, fuck. So I'm like, all right, let me find another one. Found another one a little bit further away, about 50-minute ride, which is usually longer than I really wanted to go for a storage unit. But it was like comic books and like, you know, cards, collectibles. And it was like still in my price range. And I had the high bid and I went to check and canceled. So that got canceled. So 2 auctions in 1 week got canceled. And so the day that the second auction got canceled, I was on Marketplace randomly, and there was somebody had posted like 11 hours before. It was a Nintendo NES, and it had like some games and the controllers and stuff. And I think that was about it. It was like Nintendo and like 5 games. So 2 of the games were complete in box, and then 2 of the games were sealed. And so I think because they priced it at $300, like people saw that and were like, whatever. Like they were like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it for an NES. And like, you know, which normally it wouldn't be. But then when you actually click on the picture and you get to zoom in a little bit, you can see that like 2 of the games are sealed. And they didn't say that in the listing. And so I was like, all right. And I looked up one. It was Gunsmoke for Nintendo. And that one was going for like crazy prices, just complete in box. Like, you know, it was like $500-$600 for complete in box. There's no sold for the sealed ones. I don't even know if there was any listed for sealed. But I think I'm going to get that one graded because it was in really good shape. And then there was another sealed NES game. It was like Dance Aerobics, which is like a $60 game. But, you know, again, I'll probably get that one graded because you don't see sealed NES all the time. So that worked out. Like I got that, and then when I was on the way to meet them, she was like, "Oh, I also have a Wii and a PlayStation. Like, if you want to look at those." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll look at those." So I bundled everything together. I paid $500 for everything, which is like more than I usually pay for video games, but I'll make most of the money back. You know, just on the play. There was a sealed PlayStation game too, or PS4 game too. So it wasn't like anything crazy, but I just got rid of all of my sealed collection. So I'm glad to have at least one thing back. Yeah, so that was a good find. Marketplace, like 11 hours it had been up there and nobody claimed it, which was crazy. So I probably could have got it for a little bit less, but with video games, I don't fuck around. If it's like a price where it's like, all right, I got to get there and get it, and then I'm going to go and get it. So $300 for the Nintendo set. You know, I'll probably make back, like the 2 complete games right there, I'll make back a big chunk. And then the system by itself was like clean, perfectly working, all that stuff. So I'll get a decent little chunk of change for that. And then the other, I got another PS4 console, a Wii console, games. So I did enough. I made enough to, you know, to make money on the side. And then the graded game is just going to be, once I sell that, it'll be, you know, a nice chunk of change. I did actually go to a storage unit the week before in preparation for the next 6-figure seller, and it was an in-person one that was supposed to have, I think he said it had 30 units, and then it was down to 2 the day of. So yeah, storage units are like, man, it's very, you know, they had 2 units. One unit was like, they were like storage containers too, so they weren't even storage units. And the first one just had like hardware, like wood and like paint, used paint. And then the other one just had like, you know, there was records in there, but they were sitting like under stuff and they were completely bent. And it was like, all right. So I didn't get anything there. Probably wasted my time at that storage unit auction. But you know, it is what it is. So that was last week. And then trying to think if I did anything else on Saturday. I went out Sunday. There was supposed to be a couple sales on Sunday, but it was raining on Saturday. It was like started raining Saturday night, so like Saturday sales that were supposed to be Sunday just didn't happen, and then Sunday only sales, some of them just didn't happen. So it was not a great week for sourcing, but you know, we've got our big Star Wars show tonight, and last time we did a Star Wars show with the figures, I think we did like 350 something, and we had like a fraction of the figures. So I think we'll do really well tonight. It'll be a nice first show back. We were going to do a pop-up bead show this week, but I just didn't have energy at the end of the day, a few days, just because of all the bullshit we've been dealing with. Yeah, and so this weekend, again, it doesn't really look promising, but I've got, you know, we've got that trip out west, so I'm hoping that that turns into something. Let me see if there's anything else I need to. Here, let me see. What am I doing? There it is. Oh yeah, and there was so yeah, that one guy with the estate sale. He, like, you know, he wasn't the only one who was like having a 1-day estate sale who was like, no, you got to wait till the exact time. There was another lady on Sunday. That was the other sale I went to, and it was kind of in the hood. So like I went up to see if they were open. She's like, yeah, we're not open until like the time it says. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not waiting around for this sale. Like, so I just left. So she probably didn't have anybody that day because she didn't really advertise very well. There wasn't signs out when I went. So she probably turned away like her only customer of the day. I don't understand it. You know, you're having a 1-day sale. There's one lady I talked to this last weekend, and she was hella cool. She was like, yeah, she didn't have shit at her sale, but she was like, yeah, you know, like, we're doing a 1-day sale. She's like, I don't understand why people don't like let early birds come for a 1-day sale. She's like, I'm trying to get rid of this stuff. Like, what? I don't understand it. I'm like, yeah, me neither, lady. Me neither. So, yeah, I don't know if I have anything much more to talk about. I know I said it would be a longer podcast. It's a little bit longer. I could talk more about the competition, you know, if you want to. That was, you know, it was a big part of our lives for like the last month. You know, but I feel like I was playing with house money. You know, it was something I had just found out about. Like, I had heard about what it was, but like I didn't know the competition side of it, and you know, and we were going up against people who had been doing competition raids and raid trains, and that was like our third raid train. So you know, all in all, I think we did well. You know, I had higher expectations for myself, as I always do, but it's, you know, shit happens, and we did as well as we could have, and we would have advanced to the next round. You know, we would have 100% advanced to the next round if we had, you know, got our bin working, and, you know, we didn't fuck that up. So, you know, it's a learning experience, and it would have been nice to be moving on to the final. You know, it would have been a nice little, like, all right, we you know, we're still pushing, we're still moving. But sadly, that's not the case, and it's just kind of the way it is. So we're going to move on to bigger and better things, and we're going to continue to work on that new podcast to get that one out for you. Continue to work on this one so it can level this one up. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. It's been nice here lately. It's like almost too hot the last couple days. Took my girls down to like the beach at the end of the street. We got a little beach that we can walk to. We don't use it nearly enough. I always forget about it. It's like a nice thing that you can do and just take the kids at the end of the day for them to run around. So we went down there, the neighbors, a couple days ago, and now we're just, you know, getting ready for the summer. Summer's on its way. My neighbor sent me a picture, dude. He's got a cat that he just lets it outside. It's like an outside cat. They've got 2 cats. One never goes outside, and one that's always outside. Like, this fucker came into my house one time. Like, I had the door open. He just walked in. Like, he started going to my basement where all my my inventory is, and it's like He would have gotten lost in there, so I had to go and run and grab his fat ass and bring him outside. But my neighbor sent me a picture. He's like, yo, this fucking cat is on one. And he's a picture of just a baby bunny head. And it's like the ears, one ear's ripped off, and like it's just the head. Like, he's like, yeah, dude, this cat's name is Bo Peep, and he's just like a nightmare for like rodents. It's awesome because I've never had mice in our house. Like, I've never had an issue with mice, and our kids leave food out all the time, so there's like crumbs and shit everywhere. I mean, we try to clean it up, but it's constant. So because of this cat, I feel like we just don't get like, because he hangs out in our yard, he hangs out like in all the neighbors' yards, and that thing is like, he's on top of fucking killing vermin. He's fucking on top of it. Trying to think if I have anything else to talk about. I'm going to pick up some more of those shroom chocolates, so that'll be a nice little experience. I had to give myself a little break from those because I was doing them too much. It's easy when they're in chocolate form and they're like, you can do like 1 or 2 squares and feel good, Plus, I was giving a lot of them away. Like, I gave some away to my godmother. I don't know if she wants me to say that or not, but so yeah, I was like giving shit away at one point. So I went through them pretty quickly. Probably will be the same with this one. I'm very generous when I have stuff like that because I'm like, I don't want to eat mushrooms by myself. I want to do them with somebody. And occasionally I do like doing them by myself. Like, I'll just do like a little bit while me and my wife are watching a movie and she won't even know. And I'm just fucking tripping out on mushrooms next to her. Like, occasionally it'll come up. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm on mushrooms right now. So yeah. But yeah, we've got shows coming up. We're going to be on the road for a little bit, so we might do a show from our friend's house. I got to figure out the logistics and stuff of like shipping and all that stuff and how that would work. But if we have enough stuff, I might as well fucking do a show there. Why not? But yeah, we've got another show tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We are doing Star Wars. Again, Star Wars action figures. It's all stuff from like the 90s and 2000s, so nothing older. I do have like one set of toys from like the 80s, but I don't know if I'm going to put that one in there or not because I just have so much shit in there, and it's like one of those things that it sells for a little bit of money, and I could probably put it on eBay and sell it instantly, so I'd rather... I've been kind of neglecting my eBay. Oh, that's the thing I wanted to talk about. Fucking eBay, dude. So I put up a listing. I put up the mosquito head listing, which had been up there forever. I took it down for next 6-figure seller, but then I just went to go put it back up on eBay. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just put it back up here. And I put it up, and then I get a thing that's like, your listing has been hidden for trying to sell outside of eBay. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? So I look, and I'm like, there's nothing in this listing about selling it outside of eBay. So I do an appeal, and then I go to try to like update the listing again, and it's like the listing is locked. So I'm like, all right, let me go, my go-to for eBay customer service, because it's the only place to get helpful, like quick service, is eBay on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck it's called. You can send them a message, and I go, and there's no history of messages for me and them. I'm like, all right, that's interesting. Did they block me? So I go to their page. There's no little message button on there anymore. So I look it up. I go, did eBay discontinue their customer service on Twitter? Yes, they did. The only fucking place that you used to be able to get any sort of customer service help from eBay, they're like, nah, we're gonna get rid of that one. Like, what the fuck? The only place that you can get good customer service is that through that messaging. I tried calling eBay about this listing, and he's just like, yeah, you gotta wait till you get the email. And I'm like sitting here waiting. Well, how long is that going to be? Like, I have a listing that I want to list. So I put it up on Whatnot again. I'm like, this thing's going to sell on Whatnot before it sells on eBay. And then eBay's out all that money. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, these companies. And I know it's like an AI thing, but all you have to do is have one person look at it and go, oh yeah, there's nothing on here about, about selling outside of the platform. Let's just put the listing up. So the only thing I could think is I included a screenshot of me checking it's like a screenshot of the authenticity, essentially. Like, that was the only thing I put in there. It's like, you would think you would want that in there because it helps to authenticate this t-shirt, which is an expensive t-shirt, and you don't want to have a return on that. So that's really like, another thing that I'm just like, I'm probably on my way out with eBay, because I have under 200 listings at this point, and they're taking down listings for fucking bullshit, and there's no recourse or like customer service to speak of to try to get that shit back. So it's annoying. It's I don't know why you would do that, why you would get rid of the one place that your customer service was actually effective. You're like, nah, here's some more Indian guys, that aren't going to help you. Like, they refuse to help you. You have to like get somebody on in the States. Like, that's how you know you got escalated, when you're like, oh, you sound like you're from the States. You know what I mean? It's not just some fucking guy in a like one of those buildings where they just all have the little headsets, those Indian guys just crammed into a building. It's not like, you're actually going to get customer service once it gets escalated, but trying to get them to escalate is fucking impossible. So I don't know what's going to happen with eBay. That was like the one source of like, okay, well, at least you have that, and now you don't even have that. So I think that eBay, I don't think they're going to go anywhere anytime soon, but I don't know. As a seller, there's no incentive for me to sell on eBay. Like, you could be like, well, they get you into front of millions of people, and yeah, but then I sell shit. Like, I sold some earrings, and like, somehow these gold earrings got lost. I've sold a bunch of different items that are the same package size, dimensions, no issue, but $125 earrings go missing, so I don't know. It's just, I've been getting scammed more and more on eBay, and they're less likely to do anything about it. It's like, it's crazy. They have no desire to even help you out in the least. So it is what it is. All right, I gotta wrap this podcast up. I gotta get going, get this kid from school, and call this fucking owner of this car company and bitch his ass out. What a stupid fat fuck employee. That's the podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave a review, hit the notification so you know every time the show goes live, and tell a friend, leave a review, like I said, and help us grow. Yeah. And the show's tonight, 8:30 on Whatnot, Flips and Giggles. Make sure you check that out. And finally, again, if you're looking to upgrade your reselling business and you want some help with your books, My Reseller Genie, I can't recommend it enough. It's something I actually use. I'm not even just trying to bullshit you. I wouldn't put something on here that I didn't actually use. So yeah, definitely check that out. Giggles is the code word if you want to get 15% off the bookkeeping course and 15% off the actual bookkeeping software. Do it. It's definitely worth it. It's worth every penny. So shout out to My Reseller Genie. I'm glad that they made me a what's the word? Affiliate. Sorry. Anyway, that's the show. I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll be back next week, hopefully on time next week. We're going to be, I'm hoping to be on time. So that's the podcast. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you next week.